AI agents, first off, they're not new. I mean, agents have been around as long as AI has been around. And typically, when we talk about agents, we mean an entity, whether it's a software or hardware, that can gather data inputs on its own and take actions. The agents in the beginning were presumed to be things that are actually out in the world, right? So think about like robots. For any real practical applications, if these robots are out, they're going to encounter things that you can't program. You can't have the robots wait till you go there and help them out or make some choices for them. And so they have to act on their own. And so that's what the whole idea of agent is, that they have the agency to be able to make those choices without necessarily waiting for the human intervention. But agents don't have to be something complicated. It could be, I often give example of a thermostat, right? It's an agent because it makes choices on your behalf. If the temperature rises above some threshold, it turns on the air conditioning. If it drops below something, it turns on the heat, right? This is something that you, the human, can also do, but you're delegating that task to this. So that's also an example of an agent. But it's obviously it's a very simple rule-based agent to something as complicated as self-driving car. So that's also an example of an agent, but obviously it's doing a lot more complex thing. The big reason why agents are making a comeback is because now we have agents that are driven by foundation models. And these foundation models have a few benefits that the previous generation of agents didn't have. Even when they hit their limit, they're able to extend themselves by using tools. So for instance, you have an agent, and then this is a bad example, but a simple one, that let's say it doesn't know how to do calculations, right? Well, it can reach out to a calculator, right? Or it doesn't know the stock prices, something, it can actually consult a stock trading platform, or it can do web search. We have agents, or we have, these tools that can even write programs. So if it gets to the point where the problem is too complicated and it can't solve on its own, it can even write a program to solve it. But we know that these things, when you put it out there, even when they're not able to do something, they will figure out what tools to use. They will do some reasoning. They will search for information. They will connect the dots and so on. When I was a student and learning AI, the definition of AI agent that was given was based on an embodied agent, right? So something that's, like I said, robot, that's out there, that's getting signals and getting sensors, from the real world and using that to make decisions. Obviously, robotics has advanced quite a bit than it was, 20 years ago or so. And so some of those things that were kind of theoretical at that point are now becoming practical, where robots are actually at least being deployed in factory settings. So it's still not out in the open world in a household setting or something, but they're being deployed. But I think the end user, for most times, at least for now, are encountering the software agents. I think the fundamental idea behind both of them are the same, that it's an entity that can make decisions on its own, can take actions, and it's something that you have delegated some tasks to. Let's say I have a shopping need. Here's a shopping task. Maybe that shopping can be done online, in which case a software agent will, do things. Maybe you need to go to your local store, in which case your robot will do that, right? Because you'll have to physically do something, but you as a user don't have to think about it or worry about it as a software agent or the hardware agent or whatever. Like, you're just like, I want to get this thing done. You have to run a business, you have to solve problems, you have to deliver value to your customers and other businesses and your partners and so on. You have to comply by, regulatory issues and so on. Those are the things that will really, matter. And so you may be swept up by the buzzword, or you think that everybody else is doing and I don't want to be left behind. So that's why, like, when they come to me, I kind of get to the basics of it. What problems are you solving? And sure, there is a solution, and if you want to call it agent, go ahead and call it agent. I don't care, right? But it would be bad if you just get an agent because somebody's selling agents, and don't think about like how it's going to help you address the problem. That's going to be a bigger, issue for you down the road. So I think it's good to be just like stock market advises, stick to the fundamentals, invest in, good companies and good, processes and so on. In the long run, that's going to help you more than just being swept up by meme stocks or hype.